Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be starting out a series on the National Chess Championship that is being held in Nigeria. If you have missed out on some of the games, I'm going to be dropping the link in the description down below so you can follow from game 1 to game 3. They're already in the third round. I think they're playing the fourth round currently. But yeah, I'm going to be analyzing the most important games, or the games that I find very intriguing or very fascinating. Yeah, if you have some games that you want me to look at, just drop the game in the description box down below. I'm going to do it based on as many comments as I get. But then if I don't get any comments, of course I'm going to just I am going to look for it by myself, look for the games by myself, and then do them. So without further ado, before we look at the games, actually we're going to look at the current standings in both the women's section and the open section. So just a minute, I'm going to open. Yep. Oh my god, sorry. Okay, let's assume that never happened. So this is the women's section, and on top of the list with perfect score, the only person with the perfect score, we have Ofowino Toritsemwa. I think this is the second time I am butchering her name. And then we have Onoja Iyefu Joy, and then we have Quickpen Deborah, Michael Bridget, Omoyemi, Samson Peace, Erabo Joy Felix, Wanko, Eunice Azumi, Chizoba, and Ishaya Rejoice Kira. So I know a handful of the ladies that are here, especially Quickpen because she's the former, women's champion. I know Onoja, I know Bridget. I should not be saying this, but here we are. So she has perfect scores. This is the women's section. Then for the male section, we have Ayem Balogun and Odion, and I am Odion with perfect scores. We have Okemakinde Tolu with 2 points. We have Ajibola with 2 points. Abdulramin Kigika Bomo Tessie with 1.5 points. Last year it was Kigika Bomo that took home the trophy, so he was the champion last year. Him and Deborah Quickpen, they're from the same state, so it was kind of a Bielsa kind of thing. So Bielsa is a state, not bias, Bielsa. So we have Lapite, Callistus, Benjamin Kinsey, and Coco Obubele. I think this is Obubele. This is not a very good tournament for Coco, but I think he's going to at least hold a draw or win some of the other games. But then, yeah, this is what we have so far, and let's look at the game. So we're going to be, the first game of this series is going to be Onoja Iyefu Joy versus Chizoba Treasure. I don't want to pronounce the first name before I butcher it again. This game was a very it's a good game. I looked at the game. There's a lot of instructive moments for everyone to learn from. So yeah, I should stop talking and start analyzing. So the game started with, we had E4 and then C6. So one of the other reasons why I chose this game is because of the opening. I love the Caro-Kann, and let's see how black plays it, if black plays it well or if white attacks it well. So we have D4, which is the most popular response to the Caro-Kann. Then we have pawn to D5, knight to C3, and then we had pawn takes, pawn, knight takes. So far we have the classical variation of the Caro-Kann. Normally the continuation is usually bishop to F5 and then knight to G3, and then bishop moves back, and then we can have either knight to E2 or knight to F3, something like that. Or black can just play the Takawa variation, and then we have something like this or something like this. But in this particular game, Joy decided to play knight to D7, which is the Karpov variation. I have never played this variation in my life before, so I'm not really the theory is not really there for me. But then knight to D7, and then we have knight to F3. So I looked at the most popular lines, and I saw that the most popular lines are knight to G5 or knight to F3. Yeah. In this game, knight to F3 was played, which is okay. We had knight to F6, queen to E2. So queen to E2 is the third best move. For me, I don't like queen to E2. You know why? Because you block the bishop on F1. like this is the opening. You're trying to develop your pieces very fast. If you play queen to e2, you're blocking your bishop from development. And even if black were to capture, so if black captures, you capture with the queen. Black is going to play knight to f6, and now you have to drop your queen backwards again. So you're going to give black an extra tempo, right? Which is, I mean, if black played like this variation, then it should be white trying to punish the variation, yeah. So, but we had queen to e2 anyways, and then knight took, queen took, and then maybe I should do it in present tense. So knight takes, queen takes, knight to f6, and then queen to f4. So queen to f4 is also not a bad move, but queen to d3 will have been better. Play queen, pawn to c3, castle, and then everybody continues the game normally. But in this game, queen to f4 was played, and then we had pawn to e6. Now, queen to d6 is the computer's best move. And the good thing about this is you're punishing white, the fact that white is leaving their queen open in the opening. Because if white takes like this, then black is very okay here. And even though white, black did not play a very nice or like the best opening there is. Yeah. So the best move here will be for white to just ignore and play bishop to d3. And if black captures, everybody's good here. Black has the development down. Sorry, white has the development almost done. Black is going to play g6 and flank it to the bishop, and then this bishop is no longer a bad bishop, which normally happens if you play e6 early, or if you play the French defense. Your light squared bishop is normally bad, but in the game e6 was played, and now this guy is going to be here for a very long time. So bishop to d3, bishop to e7. And again, you want to punish white, really. So bishop to d6 is not a horrible move, because now you're forcing this guy to move away. If knight to e5, then now you can castle, right? If that, because the main reason for bishop to e7 is to be able to allow black's king to castle and also to develop the bishop. But then bishop to d6 would have been, wow, bishop to d6 would have been more better, obviously, because you're hitting the queen, you are developing your pieces and gaining tempo, which is what you want to have in the opening every time. But bishop to e6, white castle, black castle, pawn to c3 was played, and then we had pawn to h6. Now, pawn to c3 is a very, very passive move, because you know what, white is done developing. Since black refused to punish white, then white can use that to the advantage. So you can keep developing, like playing rook to e1 just to put your rook on the beta square. You don't need to worry about this pawn on d4 yet, because this bishop, first of all, is not going to be able to, if the bishop moves to b4, which I don't know why the bishop would want to move to b4, you can play a pawn to c3. And then what else? This pawn is basically safe. You can play c3 anytime. Even if you play t3, black has c5, because in this kind of positions, black attacks the queen side, right? And then white attacks the king side. So white is already almost done if white wanted to attack the king side, because the bishop is already looking at that square. This bishop is on a very good square, because like the main, since we're attacking the king side here with the dark squared white bishop, then this is a good look for the bishop. I mean, right? You can bring your rook out to get ready to bring it into the king's head. But then I like queen to h4 more, because it's you have this, or you can even play queen to g3 here, and then now you're threatening to bring the bishop here. Like, there are many things you can do. You don't have to worry about playing pawn to c3. You can just start going for your attack from here. Yeah. Okay, but pawn to c3 was played, and then we had pawn to h6. So now, since again, you see, chess is a game of, if my opponent does not do this, I'm going to do that. That's imperfect when we're talking about perfect play. If your opponent does not punish your moves, then they make a mistake. You punish their moves. So c3 is very passive. What black is supposed to do here is, black is supposed to start attacking on the queen side. Black cannot attack on the king side, because the king is castled that way, and black's pieces are not even very active, because you see this bishop is a bad bishop. This guy doesn't have any good squares. This can be played, but I mean, the queen will just, oh no, not there. This can, can be played, but then the queen can go to h4 and then can still continue the pressure on the king side. You see? So the best move here was to play pawn to c5. And basically, if white capture, white cannot capture first of all because of this, yeah. And if white should just play queen to d4. So everybody's trying to attack on everybody's sides. That's what is supposed to happen in a perfect game. But we had pawn to h. I have no idea why. Okay, I know why pawn to h6 was played. It's because black doesn't want white to have like knight to g5 later on. So we had queen to d2, and when I saw queen to d2, I immediately began to think that white is playing for a draw here, don't you think? Just take a moment and reflect on white's moves in the past since from the opening, because white has been trying to play very solidly, and this is one thing that, you know, if you're playing against someone who is very high rated than you want to, not very high, like high rated than you want to play. You don't want to be too ambitious, because you know you might not see things that they are seeing, something like that. So I think white here was trying to like not be too ambitious, just try to play a solid game, get something good going, and then you finally get a draw. So queen to d2 is not good. White could have gone like queen to g3 here, and because black has played pawn to h6, this is a threat now, right? So queen to d2 was played, queen to e7, and then we had queen to c2. Okay, we had bishop to d6 again. Pawn to c5 is very good here. As long as white is not attacking, you can begin your attack on the queen side with black. So bishop to d6. We had rook to e1, just developing the rook. Pawn to c5, takes, pawn to h3. This is just boring chess now. Not very, I don't mean like boring in a mean way, but like nothing much is happening. Everybody's just trying to get their pieces to good squares. We had bishop to d7, knight to e5, because the center of the board is where the knight wants to be. Rook to d8, bishop to f4, a very good move, hitting the queen. Oh god, hitting the queen. Bishop back to d6, knight takes, rook takes, bishop takes, rook takes, and this is heading towards a draw. With perfect play, this is a very, very straightforward draw if nobody gets too ambitious. Okay, so we had rook to d8, bishop to f to e2. So this is like, from this you see that white is actually wanting a draw. So bishop to e2 is just like telling black, let's exchange everything, you see, and then we have a queen endgame, and it's going to become a draw. So black declined. Knight to d5, queen to e4, queen to b6, okay, pawn to c4, this, and then finally we had one exchange. So here I will pause this place. So this looks as if, you know, white captured, rook captures, and then the game continues normally. You can play this and force an exchange again, but then there is a tactical move that black has up their sleeves in this position. So I would take a break from talking and allow you to try and find the move for black here. You can pause the video and try to find the move. Okay, so if you're able to find the move, congratulations. Yeah, you have good eyes. Not for like for women, I'm talking about like for chess. If you were not able to find the move was queen takes on f2. And from this now you might see the idea. So the idea is we win a pawn and lose our queen. I'm just joking. The idea is we win a pawn, and then if our queen gets captured, we capture white's queen. Black captures white's queen, and then king moves up, and then black captures the rook. And this is not completely winning, but this is now black can just chill and, you know, win the game easily, yeah, or at least get a draw. The worst that could happen for black here is a draw, because we have just rook and bishop versus rook and knight. Okay, so we had pawn to b3, and pawn to b3 is not a very good move. The engine wanted pawn to g4 to stop this check from happening. Basically, you want to take away, like now this knight doesn't have any square that they can move to forward, right? If you play pawn to g4, but then we allow, if you allow pawn to g4, then basically it's going to be not a very good game for you. to this, and then rook to d2. Whenever you have the opportunity, put your rook on your opponent's second rank. There are, because you most of the weaknesses you find are mostly there. Yeah. So rook to d2, pawn to g4. Imagine after later, and then we had knight to d4. So now black wants the exchange, but the exchange is what is good in black's favor here, because black has an extra pawn, right? So king there, and then we had the exchange, right? Now black can never lose this game if black does not blunder something, because black has a passed pawn, and black is going to be able to get to the queen side of the board, and this is not going to be a problem anymore. So we had kings marching forward. White was trying to push his pawns forward, her pawns forward, but it doesn't. There's nothing that white can do here. Pawn to a5, a very interesting move. You might be thinking this is just a blunder. Black has blundered the game and lost the game, but no. Black has king to f5. So the idea behind this is, if white doesn't capture, you can just capture and then start matching. And then if white tries to go after this guy, now you can go here, right? It's a very easy game to play. And if white pushes their pawn, then now you have this square, right? And if the king decides to defend, then now you can start pushing your pawns. Okay, so pawn to a5, white captured, king moved to c5, and then white defended. Okay, pawn to f5, pawn takes on f5, pawn takes on f5, and now black has a passed pawn. If white goes after the passed pawn again, black is gonna capture all of these guys and then push, right? Okay, so we have this pawn push, this, and then very easy game, very easy game for black. Black was able to convert the game, and and white resigned here. So where were the mistakes? The mistakes were from, for me personally, without the engines, whatever, from queen to e2. Like, why would you play queens? You can just capture and then you play pawn to c3. This is very good for whites. Then you can play a bishop to d3, you can play this guy, you can play this guy, castle, and then everything is good. Then the second mistake was when let me see. Yeah, queen to f4. You can just drop down back to this square, because you don't want to have your queen in like your enemy's territory too early in the game. It's not very nice. Yeah. So queen to f4 was not it for me. And then white had an advantage close to like in the middle game, because white was done with the development. You can see that black is struggling with space in this position, right? Because black's spaces are not very developed like that. Even if bishop were to move to d6, then we can have knight to e5, and this is a very solid position for white. You're going to play c3 now. If you want, you can bring the rook into the game. Very easy gameplay for white. But then pawn to c3 that's another move that is not very good. That's a very passive move. I understand how white was trying to make their position solid, but I mean, it's good to be ambitious sometimes, most times. Okay, so we had pawn to h6. So this pawn to h6 move is not very good. Black is supposed to begin the attack on the queen side, because that's where black wants to attack in this kind of positions. It's called the minority attack. When you attack, basically white has more pawns than black on the queen side, and then you begin to attack the minority side. But then pawn to h6 it's a prophylactic move, because you don't want the knight to land on g5, but then nah, it's too passive. Queen to d2, another very confusing move. Again, I understand that white did not want to be very ambitious, but sorry, white might have been trying to get a draw, but you can't really go wrong with being ambitious. So you can play queen to g3, threaten this. If knight moves to h5, then you can play queen oh my god, you can play queen to h3, or you can play queen to g4, and you attack the knights. And this is not going to happen ever, because there's many things. This is a very huge problem for black, right? So you can dare to be ambitious in this game. And then we have okay, nope. So we have the game continued normally, and then the other mistake was when black white captured, and then black had this tactical move. So this is, I don't blame white that much for not seeing this, because it's an advanced tactical motif, but it's still supposed to be seen though. So this, and this, and then from here the game was just GG's for black. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be releasing another video very soon on the mail section, and then tomorrow I'll also look for some games and try to analyze them. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget, if you liked the video, please comment and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And also like the video as well. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.